Hello, thank you for being in a new video. On this occasion, I have an unboxing of the Vivo V19. Let's get started. On this side of the world, this device has been released only for Chile. So if you are from Mexico, this device will not be available here in our country. On the screen, you can see the launch price in Chile and its equivalents in dollars approximately. Although remember that the prices there are not the same as elsewhere. I don't know how to say this sentence because as this device is not sold here where I am, they complicated the sentence for me. But no problem, let's get to know it because as technology fans, we like to know absolutely everything. Let me take the contents out of the box. And look, here we already have a first impression of this device with the highlighted functions. For starters, it's going to offer us Aura Light Portrait. It looks like it's going to have a circular illumination next to the camera. We'll see it in a moment. We're also going to find autofocus selfies and 50 megapixel selfies on the front camera. Hey, that looks very interesting. What else do we have? 80-watt charging. Another very interesting thing. And finally, dust and splash resistance with IP68 certification. Wow! It's got some very interesting high-end overtones, but let's keep getting to know it. Amazing! The first glance gives us the aesthetics of a premium device. We've got curved screen. We also have a matte finish on the back cover. Here's the illumination for circular portraits. I'll tell you all the details of the camera in a moment more, but the truth is it feels great in the hand. Very slim too. Let me turn it on and we'll see what else is in the box. The first thing we find is the case. Completely transparent, completely flexible, semi-rigid edges to give it good enough protection. It is always appreciated that they include this type of accessories. We have the usual paper, a small quick guide, and what else? The powerful 80-watt charger, flash charge from Vivo. On one side we have USB-A, on the other side we have USB-C. The cable is a traditional length, but yes, it's a much thicker cable than we generally find in the smartphone market. Lastly, we have the key, which looks heart-shaped, but it's not really heart-shaped. Now let me put all of this away and we'll move on to the cell phone and get to know it more closely. I've already got the device set up here, so let's give you a tour of its main specifications. It's 7.46 millimeters thick, weighs 186 grams, it's also very light. And its screen has 6.78 inches in its diagonal, with a resolution of 2800 by 1260 pixels. Plus it gives us a refresh rate of 120 Hz. In fact, it is a refresh rate that can be adapted if there is static content. The screen is undoubtedly a strong point. The front camera is 50 megapixels, also with autofocus, something very rare to see in mobile devices that are not ultra flagships. And on the back, we have a 50 megapixel main camera with optical stabilization. We will also find an ultra-wide 8 megapixel camera, and finally a camera just for depth finder of 2 megapixels, so they did not give it much prominence. What we will see is this circle for illuminating portraits. Let me turn it on. In fact, you can even change the color to have a much warmer touch. It's very interesting because I haven't seen that from other manufacturers. So with this, you can illuminate the face as well to generate some very nice portraits. We will test it in the review. For now, let's see first impressions of the rest of the cameras. As you can see, the front camera still in the preview doesn't look well optimized. It looks very burnt in the background. But after we take the picture and process it, you will see that we are going to have a much better balanced result in highlights and shadows. In fact, we have a very good quality photograph, probably due to the very high resolution that the sensor has. Although you should know that the pictures are not 50 megapixels in automatic mode. In fact, even though it has an HD button on the main interface, the photos are still not 50 megapixels, although they look super detailed. But if we access the high resolution mode here, it does allow us to switch to the front camera. And that's where we can have a 50 megapixel photo, so you can notice even the smallest details. It definitely looks super detailed, this picture. Very few manufacturers dare to put such a high resolution sensor on the front camera. And the rear camera also has a high resolution mode so that we can also notice the smallest details of our photos, in case you use the high resolution mode. I'm definitely liking a lot the photographic result we have over here. Here I took some more test shots just for some first impressions. It comes out very well. I like that. Even though you're in high resolution mode, it does a good job of handling highlights and shadows for spectacular photography, still maintaining all this level of detail in the 50 megapixel photo. Amazing. And something I also like is that the digital zoom, despite being digital, seems to be well used. This is a photo of 10x, and look, the truth is that it comes out very well detailed and lets us get up to 20x digital, something uncommon in devices that don't have a telephoto lens. And it does not look like a forced 20x, but all the information from this sensor is well exploited. I'm liking this camera a lot. And in addition to the main camera, we have the ultra-wide. These pictures are from the same distance. But for you to see all the additional information that this camera can give us, plus it corrects distortions, then I think it's very good. And the last camera will use it to detect depth and take these portraits with the background out of focus. You can take portraits in 1x or 2x for a more natural perspective. The result looks very good to me. We have a good detection, the objects also keeps them in focus. The bokeh effect of the background is also nice. In the review I will tell you more details, but from first impressions it seems to me a very complete photographic system. The battery is 4600 milliamps. It is not that big, but in the review we will test how it does. Because there are devices with bigger batteries that perform less and smaller batteries that perform more. So don't get carried away by capacity alone. It comes with Android 13 and the FunTouch 13 layer as well. 8 gigabytes of RAM plus another 8 virtual gigabytes, which can't be disabled, by the way, seems a bit overkill to me. And 256 gigabytes of storage. I don't know if we could ask for anything more, because it really seems to me to be an extremely well-balanced device. But finally, let's test the processor, which is the Snapdragon 778G. A processor that, although it is not the most modern, it seems to me a processor that is still recommended, especially because with the passage of time it continues to be optimized in games and more, so we expect it to have a good performance. But remember that in the review we will show all the tests. For now, let's wait until the end of this benchmark test. It is over, and here are your results. 1027-point single core and 2964 multi-core. I think it is a considerably good power. Although I insist there are already more modern processors, they could also put an 8 series processor from years past and I think it would have a good performance. But it seems to me a good choice. In the review I will tell many more details of the performance of this device. For now, it has been a first look. And in fact, it also serves us to see that several applications are added as bloatware. That's something I don't like. But fortunately it seems that they can be uninstalled, so it's not so bad. For the moment, this has been all for this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, you know you can tell me about it. And we'll see you next time.